Welcome to this week's episode of Africa. I am in the hub of art right here in Harare, and I'm coming to you with three artists, two who are brothers, and they're making history this year by being the very first dual brother pair to come through and have an exhibition since 1992, and that is Hugh and Tazvitya and in the final segment I'm going to have Sharon, who's a visual performance artist. Stay tuned. This is Africa. Africa searches for inspiration and innovation in all areas of popular culture, from fashion and design through to architecture, art, food and travel. The focus is on outstanding individuals doing extraordinary things on the African continent. The show presents creatives in their home nations, visiting renowned designers, musicians, architects who are leaving their mark on the young continent. Join me, your host, Rugarem Duhani, as we take a round trip across Africa and get to be inspired, motivated, and future-oriented. Africa, celebrating the African story. Welcome to this week's episode of Africa, and I'm back in the heart of the city at the National Gallery of Zimbabwe. And I have for you something that is making history. This is an exhibition by two brothers. It's the very first exhibition by two brothers ever since 1992. It took that long. And I'm bringing it to you as always. I have the very first brother who's going to be with me in the first segment, and the second brother is going to come through in the second segment. Welcome, Tazvitya.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. It's good to have you on the show.
Same here. Thank you so much for coming through.
You are a multidisciplinary artist. Can you let the viewers know what exactly that is?
When I say I'm a multidisciplinary artist, it means I do painting, drawings, photography, pottery, and sculptures. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's your main love out of all of them? Because that's actually blowing my mind.
I can't really say because I always find myself, and it lead me where I'm happy. So I'm always happy, and I fall in love with everything which I do. So I can't specify exactly which one is my best medium, but as long as if it's art, I love it.
You love it.
Yeah.
What was the catalyst for this love for art?
It's a long story, but it goes back to my brother, who's part of this show. He paved the way for me.
Gotta love a big brother.
Yeah, I do. Of course I do. He paved the way for me, and then I just had to keep the ball rolling, and also finding myself in a different way so that I don't have to be like him. Okay. Yeah.
Did you get to study art at school? Let's talk about that journey. How did you hone the craft?
Okay, I mean, it's still going back to my brother because he's my art teacher. I had 3 years of art classes with him from 2003, and then I did my first exhibition in 2005 at Gallery Delta. You was my art teacher for all those 3 years. Yeah.
I can just imagine like being honed by your brother. Yeah. Where has that taken you outside of the borders of Zimbabwe?
So I am currently based in Cape Town. I've got a gallery which is representing me, which is Christopher Moller Gallery. It's not easy to be represented with a gallery, especially outside your comfort zone. And I also have got another. I've done some residencies in Europe, in Austria, where I work with the Chooks Museum. So yeah, with art I've managed to go outside my comfort zone from my village. I'm a born and bred country boy. Yeah. So you see, as we speak to you move around and check more of my artwork, it have got more to do with where I come from as a small child. Yeah. So to answer your question, I've managed to survive in South Africa and in Europe.
Speaking to the village boy, right? There's a parent out there that's watching right now, and they're thinking, okay, he spoke about residencies, he spoke about getting access to galleries. How important is it for an artist to actually get a residency?
It's not easy, but you must keep on trying. If I tell you there is a gallery which I applied for 7 years for, they always have got open calls, and I applied for 7 consecutive years, and then they always rejected me. On the 8th year, they finally accepted. So you need to keep on trying, and also listening to the curators and attending more exhibitions, openings. In that way, you make more connections. Yeah, so that's the experience which I have, which led me to end up in Europe. Yeah.
Let's talk about this exhibition right here. What was the inspiration and the name as well for this exhibition?
Dzimdanga.
Oh, Dzimdanga.
Dzimdanga dzinorwa, dzimdanga dzinonanzvana, dzimdanga dzinotsvagana. Dzimdanga they do miss each other. So we had to sit down, me and my brother, and decide what can be the title of the show. And then we decided that would be the right topic. Also working with the chief curator of the National Gallery, Fadzai Muchemwa, we agreed this is the right topic. It's also a saying which is in the streets, but it has got a deeper meaning. So Dzimdanga, me and my brother, Dzimdanga.
True.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I need you to take me through some of the art pieces. I mean, okay, Dzimdanga.
Okay, so on this panel of 4 which you see here, I visited last year, and then I was in the village in Mondoro, where I come from, and then I realized there was a problem with the water, and then this is the water, it's a water series. So we had to use some wheelbarrows and some scotch carts, as you can see, to go fetch water. This guy here, he charges $5. Wow. To bring you, to fill in the cart with some water, and then you bring it to your homestead. So he's also making income. So this series here, it's basically about, I think a year before last there was drought, so it affected a lot of people. So we take things lightly when you're in the city, especially where I am at the moment. So when I came, I saw it as a huge challenge of water crisis. So this war is, if I manage to sell this, the money is going to drill a borehole for my village.
Oh, that is inspirational. That is inspirational. I also see the elements of eyes, Panagogo, and then the other pieces. Why the eyes?
These are spiritual eyes. Yeah. So as I grew up in a Christian family where we were not allowed to speak about the ancestral background. 2018, we lost our father, so I was in a dark moment. You shall see. From that period, from 2018 to 2022, I was painting in black and white. I didn't know that I was sad. I think it's a Zimbabwean thing where we don't take these conditions lightly, like depression, anxiety, schizophrenia. We just say munarupenga. And then or someone leaving you. So the art helped me to find myself. So from 2018 up to 2022, I was painting in black and white. So I think when I healed, I came back to this colorful background. And also the painting, the drawings, and the dark artworks, they gave birth to what you see today. So these big eyes, these are spiritual eyes. And then from that moment when my father died, I just believe that he's watching over me. He's watching over us. Yes. So these eyes are all those uncles and aunts who died, and they are taking care of us. You might break that. I walked in this dark alley last night. I don't know how I made it through. I just believe you're not alone. You've got these eyes watching over us from above.
Thank you, Tazvitya, for your time.
Tatenda maita basa. Thanks for.
As you heard for yourself, you are not alone. The ancestors, your people, they're all watching over you. Wait for the next segment where I'm going to have the big brother. iAfrica searches for inspiration and innovation in all areas of popular culture, from fashion and design through to architecture, art, food, and travel. The focus is on outstanding individuals doing extraordinary things on the African continent. The show presents creatives Harare Mdumani as we take a round trip across Africa and get to be inspired, motivated, and future oriented. Africa, celebrating the African story. Welcome to this week's second segment, and I'm now joined by our big brother. I'm now just going to call him our big brother. The inspiration that you heard of in the very first segment. Welcome, you.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, I mean, you've got the mantle of big brother now. So even the viewers, Budi.
I am the big brother, not only to Lionel, but also to my community. Now, of course, now I've earned a new name, the big brother, probably of the nation.
And how is it carrying that weight, especially when you are someone who also teaches art?
It's quite an honor to start with because, when you are doing things, growing up and up to this age, you'll be realizing that a lot of people are appreciating through it. So if you look at some of your students making it out there, you really feel that you are doing something, not only for yourself, but also for the upcoming.
Let's talk about your journey. You were the lead in the family, yes, when it comes to artistry. What was your inspiration?
Okay, for that question, maybe I can rephrase it and say I was not the first one.
Oh.
Because I've got a brother. Yes, the one who comes, before me. So he actually was the one who grew up with interest.
Wow.
And I was sort of the one who was copying him. And of course, he didn't like it. So because I was sneaking every time and doing it in such a way that he shouldn't know, I ended up doing it more. Okay. And I ended up being the artist myself. Okay. He took another route, yes, and became a graphic designer. Yeah, but I am a fine artist myself. Yes. So yeah.
From you, taking that, and we talk about the educational background, how the support system as well from the family. Let's talk about that.
Thank you very much for that. I would start with my background of education in connection with art. My father was very supportive of my brother doing art. So he always wanted a child to do well, so he supported my brother. Because I was the sneaky one in art, I never really got support from my father. So the family background had a lot of support emotionally, I would say, in a number of ways. They would support my efforts. Because when I was in a rural school where there was no art as a subject, so when I mentioned that I wanted to do art as a subject, they actually accepted because they could see my efforts that I was putting on the ground. So I would give a lot of credit to my parents for that, and as well as my school teachers for doing art as a subject in a school that never had art. Yes.
Wow, that is actually very inspiring. And what then inspired you to begin to teach?
So afterwards, when I did my O-level at this school, I came to the National Art Gallery School of Art. So I went through the Visual Art School of the National Art Gallery, and afterwards, when I became a seasoned artist, I would say seasoned then, artist, I thought that I've got now the support system to go in my community and introduce art as part-time subject, and me being a part-time teacher. So I then became an art teacher at the school for about 6 years, recruiting young ones to start to learn about art. And also we ended up having, in the end, an art center in the school with the help of some German partners.
Wow.
Yeah.
You definitely changed the lives of other children there.
I would really, not going too far, I would say of my brother to start with, because he's now, for me, a very competitive artist. And I sit down and I actually ask also some questions from him. So you tend to learn and benefit from what you have done good for other people as well. Yes.
Let's talk about the exhibition. I'm looking at this art piece. It's very colorful, very vibrant. I'm seeing so many different patterns here. What story are you telling?
For instance, in this one particularly, it's called Taakuno. Okay. So it's a movement and a migration from where we have been. We seem to be evolving every time, be it by circumstances or maybe by age or whatever causes us to move. So even spiritually, people can move from one being to the other. So if you look at one part of this painting, for example, then you will see there will be people moving. You see this sagging. So they're actually people, in this case you can see a lot of people that side. And there seem not to be people on this, not so many people on this side. They left this place into another space. So this movement is always happening, and sometimes it's bound to happen by circumstances. So it's called Taakuno, and it's got another funny song that I tried to sing because my voice is not so good. So as a background, it's got a song which I sang. Yeah. So yeah, in as far as this one is concerned, that's about it.
When we're looking at art in Zimbabwe, I know you are a trendsetter and you've brought so much change to the industry itself. What are the other changes that you're hoping to see maybe in the next 5 years?
I would really want to, for example, to see a lot of corporates coming into this game and and we play together and see other talents, sprouting. For instance, like with the National Gallery, we have tried it with, there's a company which is part of the sponsorship of this exhibition. They have partnered and we have done some exhibitions with them, Morgan & Co. It's a stockbrokers company. So I have taken that initiative to also assist young artists. So my passion being working with the young, I feel that in the future, if we find more time and more people who are dedicated to that would be very much of my pleasure.
Yes.
Yes.
And since the young are very much at your heart, with your parting words, can you speak to a young viewer out there who loves to scribble, who loves to paint, who loves to work with different forms of art, and they're saying, but I don't have the support, or maybe this is just a dream, it's not going to go far. Can you speak to them?
Yes, indeed. In fact, there's something that I discovered in my journey of art that I would want to impart with the young ones. Art seems to be very prohibitive in the sense that it sounds very expensive. But sometimes art is creativity. So you can move around with what you have, what you can see and what you can reach, play around with it, come up with something. So for instance, during COVID and people never had a lot of materials, you would run out. That's when it opened up for me to start doing, let's say, mixed medium. I would pick some things and make experiments. It's very good to experiment at an age. When you're very young, you should be very playful. Yes. Play around with your materials, and the adults who are there, they are there also to assist you with the guidelines. So I would really want to leave this as a parting shot to the young ones that never cease to create. Yeah, you can actually do that. Zemudanga here present is out of a creative, I would say a creative effort that came from two brothers who once were very young before. So that is very possible. They can come up with anything. People who are there to guide, they can guide them through. Yes.
Thank you so much for your time, Hugh.
Thank you very much for having me.
That was the big brother. And you heard his words. Work with what you have in your hand. Keep creating. Stay tuned for the very last segment where I have a young lady who's also making waves in the same arena. iAfrica searches for inspiration and innovation in all areas of popular culture, from fashion and design through to architecture, art, food, and travel. The focus is on outstanding individuals doing extraordinary things on the African continent. The show presents creatives in their home nations, visiting renowned designers, musicians, architects who are leaving their mark on the young continent. Join me, your host, Rugarem Duhani, as we take a round trip across Africa and get to be inspired, motivated, and future-oriented. iAfrica, celebrating the African story. Welcome to the third and final segment of iAfrica, where I'm joined by Shalom. Shalom has quite the catalogue of achievements. Shalom, can you break it all down for us? What exactly do you do as an artist? And welcome to the show.
Hello, how are you? I'm a visual and performing artist. I specifically work with installation, performance art, and photography.
Can you tell, for the layman, right, for the viewer who's watching right now and they're like, okay, what's a visual performing artist? Can you break it all down for us?
Okay, so I work with textile installations. They are sort of like sculptures made out of textile. I work with tobacco twine, hessian, and I also work with canvas and African fabric here and there. In performance art, I use performance art because I love to perform. I was at Africara Arts Trust, which is a dance school here in Zimbabwe. And photography, I also love photography. I've always been into black and white photography. This is why I was so in love with this exhibition that Chicago GT did, this collection at Chicago GT.
When you're speaking of your loves, where did these loves actually come from? Because you spoke about loving photography and the installations as well. But what led you to actually just delving into that?
All right. So when I was in high school, I developed a love for fashion, actually, because I wanted to be a fashion designer. But when I came here to the National Art Gallery School of Visual Arts and Design, being able to experience all this kind of art effects.
How long have you been in the industry, and what have been some of your milestones?
Okay, so I was here at the School of Visual Art from 2015 to 2016, and I've been practicing as a freelance visual artist from then. I did projects with Animal Farm Art Residency. I exhibited at the Zika Museum in South Africa, and last year I was part of the artists that were exhibiting at Venice Biennale, and I was one of the artists that was in the main exhibition.
Take the viewers through this particular exhibition. You said it inspired you, right? So why did it inspire you, and what did it inspire you to do? Because they need to know.
Yes, definitely. So I will be performing next week on the 10th of July. I will be doing a performance art piece in conversation with some of the photos that are here in the exhibition. I chose about 10 photos that relate with my childhood. So some of the photos that are here, they remind me of my childhood. You know, being in the township. I grew up in Murewa, and I was at St. John's Chikwaka Primary School. That's where I started from grade 1 up until grade 4. So some of my childhood memories are there, and they are here in this deck or this series or collection of photos. So that's what inspired me to create this piece that's called Connecting Points.
What are some of the challenges that you faced as an artist here in Zimbabwe?
So here in Zimbabwe, sometimes it's not easy to get by because not everyone is into art. art is not normally supported here in Zimbabwe. So we have to try and to do as many projects as we can and try and sell and connect to the outside world internationally for you to be known well in the international market. So yeah, selling can be a challenge, but well, we are Zimbabweans, we hustle. So yeah, we try by all means to hustle and try to make ends meet as artists.
Before I let you go, what imprint do you see yourself, Shalom, making on the Zimbabwean art footprint in the next 3 to 5 years?
So as an upcoming artist, or some may say upcoming artist, but I feel like I'm in the era whereby I'm grown as well as I'm still getting established. As a female artist, I would like to encourage other female artists out there that it is possible to be in the market. It is possible for you to grow as a female artist. You should never give up, no matter who may try to drag you down, or who may try to drag your name down, or who may try to be above you and try to bring you down as a female artist. Not just as a female artist, but also as a young artist, because it's not easy to get to in the big leagues as an artist. So you have to keep pushing. You have to continue being passionate and working hard for you to be out there in the market. Yes.
Thank you so much for your time, Shalom, and all the best in this exhibition.
Thank you so much.
You heard for yourself. Stay strong, stay humble, stay focused. You know you're eventually going to make it. iAfrica searches for inspiration and innovation in all areas of popular culture, from fashion and design through to architecture, art, food, and travel. The focus is on outstanding individuals doing extraordinary things on the African continent. The show presents creatives in their home nations, visiting renowned designers, musicians, architects who are leaving their mark on the young continent. Join me, your host, Rugarim Duhani, as we take a round trip across Africa and get to be inspired, motivated, and future-oriented. iAfrica, celebrating the African story.